Okay, so this section here, basically about creating honors assignments, so pretty much where we left off. I can go through all of these. There are so many different ways to do this, but we would like to see on your syllabus where you have your point totals. We want to, when looking at it, clearly identify what are the honors assignments and what are the full class assignments. Now again, if you choose to do it where everyone in the class of 25, 40 students, whatever it is, are doing all of this work, and then these 5 are doing extra assignments, that should be pretty easy. If you're doing it almost a different class model, there's ways to identify it as well, but when looking at it, not just for my purpose, but obviously for the student's purpose, we want to see kind of what is going toward the normal syllabus and what is the kind of added expectations. How have you guys experienced this? Is this something that you'd be familiar with when looking at an honors contract syllabus? Yeah, do you want to speak to it at all?
Yeah, for me, I don't remember all of the ways that I've experienced it, but I do remember specifically experiencing the weighted differences. So in the contract with Dr. Miller, yeah, she does her syllabi that way. So
so very precisely kind of outline
yeah,
points.
she made the regular assignments in class that we would have normally done worth slightly less, like maybe readings that are consistent, but then our extra research project was worth more because that was the extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the same experience as Vanessa. Honestly, I'm having trouble thinking of exact honors syllabus of the syllabus, but yeah, same
But
experience.
Similar. So
Similar, yeah.
you have everyone's doing a research, like say midterm paper, or a 5-page paper midterm. It's worth 100 points for everyone. It's worth 80 for you to
Right.
make room for the extra
Yeah.
assignments you're going to have. Something like that. Okay, wonderful. Certain kinds of projects are considered honors types of assignments. Again, the takeaway here is going to be we give you a lot of flexibility. We're not here to tell you you need to do this kind of assignment or only this type of assignment works. I don't know accounting. I don't know earth sciences. I don't know, I know some history, but other disciplines that I'm less familiar with, I'm not about to step in as a religious studies professor and tell you I don't think that is the right type of assignment. There are some that I might want to have a conversation about and hear your reasoning, your thinking, but we do give you a wide range of possibilities, and this is just a guidance here, right? So if you have something creative in mind that is not reflected in this presentation or the stories that you've heard from our students, then try it out, give it a shot. We want to see what works. Anything to add to that?
Oh, I would definitely say I encourage a paper under 10 pages.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, as I've tried to tell faculty and multiple generations of faculty, is that, remember, it's not piled higher and deeper, it's trying to get more out of it. So I actually would argue for my own pedagogy that you can do more with a 4-page paper than a 15-page paper many times if you're putting an emphasis on perhaps citation methods or digital research. One of the things that I like to do in my courses, remember that any honor student, and that includes a non-honor student and honors work, they have library privileges at a lot of our local libraries, including not just the ones in Nichia, but also UCSD, UC Riverside, UC Irvine, and UCLA. And so that might be one of the best gifts you ever give to a student, is actually teaching them how to use perhaps digital research archives, but actually, or perhaps taking them to a Research 1 facility or a Research 2 facility, and actually helping them see the reference librarians there, helping them understand how to manipulate what can be a very imposing structure to a lot of students and create a lot of anxiety. And so that's something that I really like to do in my courses, is that I'm a PhD student at UC Riverside. And so we'll oftentimes go up to Riverside or Irvine, and it's just as an opportunity for them to see how research is done at that. So they see that this could be a future, and there's a way to do it in a way that feels comfortable. And to know that they kind of get, I can check out books here, this is pretty exciting. And so that's just a way for them to understand, you know what, we can do interlibrary loan from our college. And to just use that skill so that they start to realize all the different ways that actually the resources of the library can be used. It can be one of the best gifts of participating with these students. So again, if you're just doing a research paper, okay, but can you do the steps, the building steps of how do we do a research paper? So maybe the end result is 4 pages, but the idea was, do you understand citation method? Do you understand how to use these library skills? And so when they're meeting with an employer or a grad instructor perhaps one day and they're like, listen, I've already done a lot of these things. One of the biggest differences that we hear from students is that our honor students tend to know how to use libraries really well. And I'm oftentimes hearing from non-honor students saying, I never had to do a research paper my entire time here at MiraCosta. And so then they end up going, but they don't have the skill set, the toolbox. And perhaps that's the best gift that we can give our students, is a expanded toolbox so that they can really use the resources of the schools that they're transferring to.
Yeah, for example, my philosophy of religion class, we have a 5-page paper, but I actually make them write a 7-page paper and then whittle it back down, condense it, right? Because I don't want those students of, oh my gosh, I need one more page, let's stretch this out, it just has to be X amount of pages. Let's get even more out there and then learn a new skill of reducing the work you've done and making it more concise. So we want to see the procedural steps rather than just an X amount of pages in a finished product. So actually, we're running out of time. I just want to get to the very last stage here, connecting your contract to more learning opportunities. We don't want us to think that a contract starts in August and ends in December and done. We have examples here, plenty of examples. Vanessa's already talked about it. Zach, you've done more than one conference. You've done...
Yes, I've done 2 Omnis and then HTCC and Irvine.
Okay, and Marissa, you've done 3 conferences, 4
yes.
conferences?
2 different Omnis, Western Regionals, and the one at UC Irvine.
Wonderful. And each of these conferences that you're doing, when you say you've done 7 conferences, you don't mean you've done 7 different unique presentations, right? So we don't want that. I mean, coming out of college and doing 7 or 8 unique presentations is maybe not the best way to spend your time. Maybe that's 2 or 3 different presentations that over time you continue to work with your mentor, continue to cultivate these projects to make them better, to see what a really good finished product looks like, and to give you the confidence when you go do something like conference up at Berkeley. Wow, I've done this 3 times, I've had a lot of positive feedback, and I have worked on it for the last 8-10 months. They continue in this way. So we really want to have you understand what the values of this learning process is, rather than, again, just do more work. Another reason that they're all here, like Professor Sleeper's previous recommendation to attach points to office hours or meetings, these students want A's, and they want to transfer, and they want points, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just the love of learning, as much as we love it for it to be all about personal edification and the passion of the subject itself. These students have busy lives, and they're trying to transfer, and they're trying to get into the best schools that they can get into, and this very much helps. So when you're creating that contract, if a student expresses interest in doing a conference because they think that might help them with their transfer success, I would take that into consideration and consider allowing that to be their project, even if it wasn't perhaps something that you had in mind. We like to kind of be on your team as we're going through here. The thing that I have come to really love about the honors community more generally, and I see honors contracts as a wonderful pathway into our honors program, because again, to remind you, those 66% of students who took honors contracts were not in honors at all. It's a way for them to get involved, and we do these wonderful, wonderful community building events that are educational, right? We're going to UCLA for a visit, and we're going to visit the Griffith Observatory. We have a beach bash next Friday. We have pizza with the professor with me. We have all sorts of things, trivia nights and other things, and we want more students involved in that, and you can't just put up signs and have students come. We provide food often, that helps, but we also want them actually involved, not just there for those exterior reasons, but rather because they've found a community of people, and we've found that that's the case, and we're trying to continue to build that. So contracts is one way in which we can kind of add to that. And then the creation of original scholarship. Personally speaking, I was undergrad for 5 years, I did 2 master's degrees and a PhD, and I didn't do my first first conference until my 2nd master's degree. And I'm seeing 18, 19, 15-year-old students of ours give these presentations that frankly would blow my first presentations out of the water. I mean, I was reading a paper like this, and these students are walking around and comfortable and using PowerPoints and asking questions. And it's a really great set of skills for them to be confident with their scholarship. So again, not just presentation skills, but coming out of this process knowing I know Frederick Douglass better than anyone in this room, and I'm going to talk about this person and his contributions confidently because I have spent that time doing it, and that's what we're really looking to get out of this. Not just the kind of presentation skills, but this kind of deeper sense of learning that we think all classes can offer, and then definitely these honors contracts can help to elevate. So that's pretty much going to be it. These are our program student learning outcomes, and we've touched upon all three. Again, the first two are focused on research skills, communication skills, confidence in scholarship. The last one we added 2 years ago. It's much more about equity and, is it the last one? I'm trying to think. Yeah, equity and diversity in solving problems. So with honors contracts, we've talked about this again, but it reaches more students. It allows more students to kind of go the direction they want to go, and it is spread across more disciplines, which is really important to us. So we have a little time for questions.
Are those on the website? Because then we can just...
Those are, yeah, you could just copy and paste those into your honors syllabus. Yeah. Other questions? Wonderful. Well, thank you guys for coming out. We really appreciate it.